You hear them, don't you? Whispering, chuckling, judging. It never stops. It never will. And do you know why? Because people, they always need something to talk about. It's like breathing to them. They can't resist. It's what gives their dull little lives a sense of importance. But you're different. You walk your own path. You see past the masks they wear. You know the truth. And because of that, you're a threat. So they talk. They try to tear you down, call you names, doubt you, spit on your ambitions. They poke and prod, waiting for that moment when you shatter. That's what they crave, to see you collapse, to watch you snap. Because if you do, well, that proves they were right all along, doesn't it? That you were just another nobody pretending to be somebody. But here's the punchline, kid. Ignoring them? That's your loudest response. Silence. It's a scream they'll never forget. Do you honestly believe these people care about you? No. They don't give a damn. They don't lose sleep over you. They don't sit in their rooms at night wondering if they've hurt your feelings. But you're sitting here, wasting precious time thinking about them. Pathetic. Let me let you in on a little secret about people. They only care about two things: what entertains them and what terrifies them. If you're amusing, they'll laugh. If you're powerful, they'll tremble. Anything in between? You're just background noise. And that's why they need to talk. Deep down, they know they're nobodies. Just scared, useless nobodies, terrified of being forgotten. And they will be. Every single one of them. Just another name lost to time, another whisper swallowed by the wind. But you have the opportunity to be something greater, to rise above, to be so silent yet so deafening that they choke on their own words. See, when you react, you hand them power, you let them win. But when you ignore them, that drives them mad, because now they're screaming into emptiness. And the void? The void doesn't care. You want to know the real difference between kings and pawns? A pawn moves first, a king waits. The weak ones, they feel this desperate need to respond, to explain, to fight back. Because deep down, they still seek validation. They still want to be accepted. But kings? Kings don't justify themselves. They don't defend their actions. They simply move in silence. And in that silence, the world pays attention. Let them talk. Let them mock you. Let them call you a failure. Because one day, your success will be so thunderous that it will drown out every word they've ever spoken. And when that moment comes, they'll regret it. They'll choke on their own laughter. The same ones who doubted you will suddenly claim they always believed in you. The ones who insulted you, they'll tell everyone they knew you had potential. That's the game, kid. That's how it's always played. And that's exactly why you never react, never engage, never lower yourself to their level. Because while they're busy flapping their mouths, you're busy building. Let's play a little game, shall we? Imagine, starting tomorrow, you had no clue what people thought of you. No insults, no praise, just silence. Would it change who you are? Would it change what you do? No, because none of it was ever real to begin with. That's the ultimate joke, the grand illusion. People's opinions? They only exist if you let them, if you acknowledge them, if you allow them to take root in your mind. But the second you stop caring, they vanish. Poof, gone. Just like that. Because in the end, the only voice that matters is your own. People crave control. They want to make you feel insignificant, weak, powerless. Because the moment you believe you need their validation, you're already their puppet. And oh, how they love that. They love pulling your strings, watching you dance. But when you sever those strings, when you walk away without so much as a glance, that's when the panic sets in. That's when they realize they never had any real power over you at all. That's the real joke. People don't truly understand pain. Oh, they like to pretend they do. They enjoy the illusion. But real pain leaves scars. It changes you. It hardens you. And you've been through hell, haven't you? You've been broken, torn apart, betrayed, abandoned. And yet, here you are, breathing, standing, living. That's what they don't comprehend. They think their words can wound you. They believe their laughter can break you. But they don't realize you've already been shattered before. You've already endured the worst life has thrown at you. And you've survived. So tell me, kid, if their worst couldn't destroy you, why the hell do you care about their words? You wear your scars like armor. Every insult, every doubt, every betrayal, it's all just fuel for the fire, fuel to keep pushing forward, because one day, when you finally reach the top, when your silence roars louder than their noise, they won't be laughing anymore. No, they'll be watching in horror, realizing they bet against the wrong person. Let them talk, let them whisper, let them chuckle at your expense, because one day your silence will be the loudest sound they've ever heard. One day, your success will be so blinding that they'll wish they'd never doubted you. And when that day arrives, don't say a single word. Just smile. Because nothing tortures them more than knowing they never mattered to you at all. You think you need them to stop talking? You think if they just leave you alone, you could finally breathe, finally focus? That's the joke, kid. They'll never stop, because talking is effortless. It requires no risk, no effort, no cost. It's the last refuge of the useless, the weak, the ones who will never amount to anything. So they fill the air with their noise, hoping no one notices how empty they really are. And the funniest part? They don't even believe half of what they say. Oh, they'll call you a failure now, but the second you make it, they'll pretend they always supported you. They'll say they saw your potential all along. The same voices that mocked you will suddenly fall silent when they see you standing victorious. That's how they work. That's how they've always worked. And the only way to beat them? Ignore them. Starve them of the reaction they crave. Let their words die in the void, because that drives them insane. You ever notice something about legends? They're always misunderstood. The greatest minds, the strongest warriors, the most powerful leaders, they all had one thing in common. People hated them at first, because people fear what they don't understand. And what they fear, they try to destroy. So, if people don't get you, if they mock you, reject you, doubt you, good. That means you're on the right path. That means you're not like them. That means you're destined for something greater, because history doesn't remember the ones who fit in. It remembers the ones who stood out. The ones who kept moving forward, even when no one believed in them. The ones who ignored the noise and made history. And if they never stop talking, if they keep mocking, keep doubting, keep sneering, no matter what you do, then that means you're winning. Because if they're still talking, that means they're watching. That means they're obsessed. That means they can't stop thinking about you. And that's the ultimate irony. Isn't it? The very people who despise you are your biggest fans. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them laugh. Because one day, when you're standing at the top, They won't be laughing anymore. One you make. The sound of progress, of success, of footsteps marching forward while they remain stuck in place. And that will be the loudest silence they've ever heard. Because silence isn't weakness. It isn't surrender. It's power. It's knowing that their words never had any weight to begin with. You ever notice how the ones who talk the most always have the least to show? The loudest voices in the room are often the most hollow, the most desperate to be heard. Why? Because they're terrified of irrelevance. They need to believe that their words hold value, that their opinions shape the world. But the truth? The truth is their words are just noise, static in the background of those who are actually building something. And you're not here to make noise. You're here to make moves, to create, to build, to become something so undeniable that their words fade into nothingness. Because at the end of the day, people don't remember what was said. They remember what was done. So let them talk. Let them waste their breath. Let them huddle together, comforting each other with shared doubts, convincing themselves that you won't make it, because deep down, they know the truth. They know you're different. They know you won't stop. And that terrifies them. That's why they try so hard to pull you back. That's why they mock, why they sneer, why they whisper behind your back. It's not because they hate you, it's because they fear you. Because every step you take forward is a reminder of how they've stood still. Think about it. If you weren't a threat, why would they care? Why would they waste their time on you? They wouldn't. They'd ignore you. But they can't. Because every move you make, every victory you claim, every inch you climb higher reminds them of one thing. They could have done something too. But they didn't. They made excuses. They sat back and watched, convincing themselves that staying comfortable was the right choice. And now, watching you rise, watching you do what they were too afraid to try, it eats them alive. So they lash out, they try to diminish your wins. They call you lucky, they call you arrogant, they call you anything that makes them feel better about themselves. But none of it matters, because while they talk, you move. While they doubt, you work. While they tear down, you build. And that is why you'll win. Not because you're the loudest, not because you fight every battle, but because you know battles aren't won with words, they're won with action. You ever see a lion argue with a sheep? No, because the lion doesn't need to. The lion moves and the sheep trembles. And that's exactly what you are. A force that doesn't need validation, doesn't need approval, doesn't need to explain itself. You walk your path, and the world either follows or watches in awe. That's power. Not the illusion of it that comes from shouting the loudest. Not the cheap imitation that comes from tearing others down. Real power. The kind that makes the world take notice without you ever having to say a word. And that's what scares them the most. Not that you're arrogant, not that you're different, but that you don't need them. You don't need their validation, you don't need their approval, you don't need their permission to be great. And when they finally realize that, when they see that their words hold no weight, that their doubts mean nothing, that they are nothing to you, that's when the silence will hit them the hardest. Because in that moment they'll realize something terrifying. They never mattered, not to you, not to the world, not to anyone who's actually doing something. They were just background noise, a passing breeze, a distant echo that fades long before it ever reaches your ears. And you'll keep moving forward untouched, unshaken, unbothered. Because that's what winners do. They don't fight battles that don't matter. They don't waste time on people who don't matter. They just win. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them waste their time trying to drag you down. Because while they're busy doing that, you'll be too far ahead to even hear them. And that's the real victory. The silence you left behind. Do you think they despise you? Oh no, no, no. Hatred would require effort. Hatred demands passion, and passion, well, that's something they lack entirely. What they truly feel? Fear. They don't resent you for failing. Nobody cares when you fail. You're invisible to them, but the second you start winning, the moment you stop playing their game, the instant you begin proving them wrong, that's when the fear sets in. Because now they have to confront the uncomfortable truth that they bet against the wrong person. That they wasted their time, that all their laughter, their doubts, their petty little jabs, they were all meaningless, and that terrifies them. Oh, you know the moment I'm talking about, don't you? That instant when the same people who mocked you begin to shift. Their voices soften, their tones change. Suddenly, they aren't so sure anymore. Oh, I always knew he had it in him. We were just trying to motivate you, you know? Tough love. Suddenly they want credit. Suddenly they want to rewrite the past. Hey, don't forget about us when you make it big. Pathetic. They spent years doubting, dismissing, ridiculing, and now they want to switch sides. No, let them stay exactly where they chose to stand. Let them sit in those same seats, watching you become everything they swore you never would. That is their punishment. Not your words, not your anger, just their own regret sitting heavy on their shoulders, suffocating, inescapable, because they know they lost their chance to stand beside you. Ever notice something? The ones who truly win, they don't waste their breath explaining. They don't argue, they don't justify, they don't play childish games of back and forth, they just move. And that movement, that pure, ruthless indifference, that's what destroys people. Because when you ignore them, when you refuse to acknowledge them, you send a message far louder than words. You are irrelevant, and nothing burns more than that. They would rather you hate them. They would rather you fight them, scream at them, prove them wrong, because at least then they exist to you. But when you simply walk away, when you treat their words like dust on the wind, when you let them choke on the silence, you break them. Because now they must face a truth they never wanted to accept. They never mattered to you at all. Oh, this is my favorite part. The part where they return. At first they mock, they doubt, they throw their little stones from a safe distance, convinced you'll never make it. But then something shifts. You rise, you push forward, you refuse to fall, and suddenly, they want to be close to you. Hey man, no hard feelings, right? Remember all those jokes? Just messing around? We should work together sometime, you know, like old friends. No. Let them knock. Let them plead. Let them scramble to rewrite history. And you don't even open the door. Because if they couldn't believe in you when you were fighting to climb, they don't deserve to stand beside you at the summit. Ever watch a fire die? At first it roars, consuming everything in its path, spreading wildly, fueled by oxygen, by attention, by reaction. But take that oxygen away, it weakens, it flickers, it vanishes. And that's exactly what happens when you stop responding. Most people, they feed on your energy, your time, your emotions. Take that away, ignore them completely, treat them like they don't exist. Suddenly, they don't. They fade, they shrink. They become ghosts of their own failures, lost in the silence you left behind. And that silence, that is power. And here's the real punchline, kid. The best revenge, it's no revenge at all. Oh sure, you could waste your breath proving them wrong. You could rub your success in their faces. You could scream, "I told you so," into the void. But why? Why waste even a second on people who were never worth your time? The real victory? It's walking away. Walking away so far, so fast, so powerfully that their words never touch you again. Because when you rise so high, they can't even see you anymore. That's when they realize they lost you forever. And that will haunt them more than anything you could ever say. So let them talk, let them mock, let them whisper, let them laugh, because one day, one glorious inevitable day, they will be silent. And when that day arrives, don't even look back, just keep moving, because you already won. It's relentless. It's merciless. It's the ultimate message of power through silence. No explanations, no justifications, no wasted breath, just forward motion, unstoppable, undeniable. Now go, let them talk. And when the silence finally comes, enjoy it.